Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing you a talk I did with Inna Tsareva. Ms. Tsareva is a vice principal at an Orthodox school in Moscow, and today we spend our time talking about Orthodox education in general and about the history of her school, how it started and how it's operating today. And for me this is a very interesting subject that I really want to learn more about, and I really hope that you will learn as much as I did through this discussion. So without further ado, here is my talk with Ms. Inna Tsareva. Okay, hello everyone and welcome to our conversation here with Inna Tsareva, who is the vice principal of a Christian Orthodox school in Moscow, St. Elizabeth School. Hello Inna, welcome.
Hello friends. Hello Father Philip.
So Inna, before we start to talk about the school and everything connected to somehow Christian education, why won't you introduce yourself to us, who you are, where you come from, all of that.
So my name is Inna Tsareva. I am from Moscow, and I'm deal with education. So I'm headmistress of an Orthodox school for children in the center of Moscow. This is an Orthodox school for the children of all ages, from 6 until 18 years old.
Okay, so basically after kindergarten up until they go to university.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, This is located in the middle of Moscow. I was there. It's a beautiful school.
Yes, it's located in the middle of Moscow in a very nice district and in a very close place to the convent of St. Martha and Mary. This convent was built by St. Elizabeth, St. Princess Elizabeth, new martyr. Elizabeth Fyodorovna Romanova, the sister of the last Russian Tsarina.
So that's why you called the school after her, because the monastery.
Yes, after her.
Yeah. So is it at the monastery property, or is it just next by?
It's next by.
Okay. So could you please tell us, how did the school start? How where did the idea come from? If you can give us some background about the history of all of that, because I think it's very interesting.
The idea came 30 years ago because we are making this school. It's about 30 years already. It is quite old for modern Russia. It is old, 30 years. So it was straight after the communist period. And when the communist period failed and Russia was free after communism, we found out that there were no absolute religious education, absolutely no, because during 70 years it was absolutely prohibited. Most of the churches were closed, and no children were brought up in their religion. And this idea came to me, my mother, and our spiritual father, Father Artemy Vladimirov, to start to talk to families about faith, about education of religion, and about what is the Orthodox way, how to bring up a child in your own traditional way of religion. And we started step by step. The beginning was in 1992. And so these 30 years passed along. It's quite a big period of time, because we started in one country. Then it was the millennium, and the 90s. It was one epoch, one time. The millennium was another one, and now this modern situation is absolutely different. So we can say that all this big period of time that we're making the school is a big part of history. So there is a big part of information you can share with people and with children.
Yeah. So is it fair to say that starting the school together with your mom, who's the principal, correct? Your mother is the principal, and Father Artemy, who's the spiritual father of the school. is it fair to say that you started it as a sort of response to the fall of communism and the need of rediscovering the real Russian roots, Christian Russian roots? Was it the real main reason? Could you say that?
Yes, you're right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and we will speak about Father Artemi later because I think he's quite important in all of this as well.
Mhm.
So, what was it difficult? Because I'm thinking to myself, communism falls, right? The Soviet Union dissolves, which in itself is both good and bad. Obviously, it's good because communism stopped existing, but it creates many other issues.
Yeah.
So my first idea was it difficult to establish a religious school in 1992 in Moscow? Was there many challenges from like authorities and stuff?
Uh, mm, 90s was the time of 90s was so special. Nothing was difficult. Nothing were difficult. If we started now, it would be more difficult.
Okay.
And yes, and from time to time, when I talk to Father Artemio, to my mother, what if we start it today? And we answer that it would be very, very difficult to start it now. But in the 90s, with all this all formal structures was failed, yes, and you had to build from the very beginning, to build something.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely free.
Okay. So
Yes.
in a sense, the chaos worked to your advantage, right? The chaos
Yes.
that erupted helped you somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yes. The 90s were quite difficult time, but it was a time of advantage and a big challenge.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And from the beginning, it was obviously planned to be a school that obviously the school is not only teaching religion, it's teaching everything, correct?
Everything, yeah.
But it's based on Christian Orthodox values.
Mm-hmm.
So in what way, if any way, is it connected to the church? In what
Mm-hmm.
way is there any connection to the church? If you could maybe explain that. Is it connected to the Moscow Patriarchate in some way, spiritually or something? If you could just share some light on that.
Yes, it is connected. First of all, you ask for the special blessing to start it.
Mhm.
And then the patriarchate gives you this permission. It is the written one. It said, I am the patriarch of Moscow, give the blessing to Inna Tsareva and her mother to start the school. So something like that.
Mhm.
So yes, and he also blesses priests to teach to your children, and you also have a blessing to conduct services in the local parish.
Okay.
Yes, because in the state school it's prohibited. State is not with the church. Yes, state is and the church are not together. And for example, if your children go to the state school, they don't have any chance to know to study religion or to go to church there.
Okay, I understand. So your curriculum, official curriculum, is it still dictated by the state, or is it completely free from the state?
Not completely, because it is dictated from state in the way of the state education, because we want our children to have all the state documents. Yes, after the school, they have state diploma. After state, we say attestat. Yes,
Yeah.
when they finish school. In order them to enter all the universities, all the institutes they want to enter, not only to go to monastery or to the seminary. Yeah, so all the universities, even if they want to go abroad, they may do it. Yeah. Because yes, they may take these exams. So state disciplines are dictated by state. Church disciplines are dictated by church.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because when I visited you a few months ago, I visited.
Yeah, it was good time.
It was good time. It was wonderful. I really also got this feeling what you're talking about, that yes, it's obviously religious and based on faith, but it's also very much in line with the laws and regulations, so that these kids, like you say, these kids can go off to universities without any problems, which I think is very,
Without
very
any problems, yes, and we are very keen on education. We want them to make good marks, to make a good progress.
Yeah.
do everything for this.
Yeah, that's really,
So
really
we don't have any goal to make all our students monks or nuns. No.
no. I really felt that in a positive way. Obviously, I would love people to be priests and monks and nuns, but
Yes.
not everyone is for that. And I really felt in your school that there really was no pressure.
No pressure. It's your free decision.
Exactly. It's more that the teachings, moral teachings, and everything are in line with the Orthodox faith, which is I think the perfect middle road. I believe.
We try to.
And because as you know, in the West, there's a lot of issues now where obviously the states, various states, they want to force their own ideologies on schools. And in America, thank God, people can teach their kids at home and have private schools. But in many countries in Europe now, they want to also get rid of this opportunity to put your kids in a different school, because they want kids to go in their school, so they teach them their liberal or whatever you want to, anti-Christian. So I'm very happy to see that you have this freedom, but you're still officially under rules and law. I think that's a good synthesis, almost like the Byzantine synthesis of.
Yes, you're right. Yes, it's some kind of a synthesis in between church and state.
Yes, some cooperation, of course, in a health. Yeah. So if you could tell me a little bit, so you say obviously that there's some spiritual aspect, and when I was there, obviously I was there on a Friday, and so the day started with liturgy, and many kids attended liturgy, communed. Father Nikolai was preaching, also another famous Batyushka blogger. So if you could just tell us a bit about the spiritual aspect, about services and how all of that functions. Do all the kids have to go to services? Is it somehow mandatory? If you could just tell us about prayer life in the church, in the school.
So I believe that the Holy Liturgy is the main thing in life of every Christian. And if when you make something Christian, for example, Christian family or Christian school, you must think first of all about the opportunity to attend liturgy, yes, and to take participation in holy mysteries. In our school, every Friday there is we have a liturgical day. We conduct the liturgy, and all the children flock to church, and their parents as well, and all the teachers, and they take a participation in Holy Communion. They confess, only after that they go. For and then go on their education. They attend their lessons every Friday, just once a week. Okay. Of course, every Christian attends their own church every Sunday, for example, yes, and every Saturday evening, for example. But when you go, if you're a student of an Orthodox school, Friday is the day for the whole school to stand together and to pray together.
Oh, that's beautiful. So it's only once a week.
Once a week, yes, not every day.
Yeah. It's not a monastery, of course, so not every day.
It's not a monastery, and it's Orthodox church rite is quite complicated, and it takes long time.
Surely, yes.
You can't do it every day.
No, it would take too much time from the study.
Too much time. There's no time for lessons, no time to study.
And if we could stay to the spiritual aspect and talk a little bit about Father Artemi, who, as you said, he was there from the very first day. He's your spiritual father, and he's a very well-known priest in Moscow. Is he? So he acts as the spiritual father of the whole school. Is this correct? In a way.
Yes, he has a blessing from the Patriarch to be the spiritual father and to talk to children about the spiritual things and to teach children during lessons and to confess them and to conduct the liturgy.
Yeah, okay. That's really, really wonderful. So the children know that there is one person they can go to with their spiritual questions, and he will always be there for them, right? In a sense. Yeah. No, that's very, very, very nice. I
Mhm.
wanted to ask you just out of curiosity, can children who are not Orthodox, can they attend your school?
They can, but I don't think
They won't.
it happens from time to time. But every time when some family comes to the school and say and they claim they wish they want to become our school members, we talk about this. We say, yes, you come to Orthodox school. Do you understand that you will have to go to church to listen to all these subjects. All your teachers will be the believers.
Yeah,
They say, I have to think about
yeah.
it.
Probably not a good idea.
But yes, sometimes it is a good idea because we have such a kind of a statistics when children have make an influence for their parents. For
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
yes, for example, the children become our school children, and then they talk to their parents, and their parents start coming to church.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful, wonderful, really.
Mhm.
In
It's
a
a
way,
kind of a mission. It's also is a kind of a mission.
yeah, that's what I wanted. That was my next point. When I was there, because it's in the middle of Moscow, everyone is walking by, and you see this. First of all, you see the convent, the monastery with the women, and then next to it, you see a school. It's really a sort of missionary effort in the middle of one of the world's biggest cities. And it's somehow it's a wonderful wonderful thing,
Mhm.
not only for the children but even everyone just walking by.
Yeah.
It's a good somehow statement about the faith that yeah. So I wanted to ask you, what are some of the challenges that you face? Because obviously we live in a world, even in Russia, which is Orthodox, where there's a lot of secularization. There's a lot of anti-Christian ideas, and just
Mhm.
what are some of the challenges of trying to be an Orthodox school in 2022 with all this anti-Christian things outside? If you could maybe speak to that from your personal experience, the challenges.
I think the main challenge is always the same as Saint John the Theologist says that uh, world of God and the world of this secular world.
Yeah.
So you have to live in this secular world
Mm,
as a countryman of a heavenly kingdom.
yeah. Because in a sense, it's like you are in both worlds, right? Because you have to somehow function within a legal framework of a secular state, in inferior state that is disconnected from the church,
Mhm.
but you also have to work in the strictly religious sphere, and your children obviously move between these two, and they have social media and all of this. So somehow it feels like you're very much with one foot in both these worlds, and you have
Yeah.
to be to function, right? You have to be to function.
Yes, you have to function, and the question is, when these two worlds are in a controversy, which one would you choose?
Yeah, yeah. That's always for Christians, I think, generally speaking, that's always
Mhm.
the challenge, right? uh,
Yes, this is the
and I
challenge.
and I really
Mhm.
think that trying to instill this Orthodox ethos, as I like to call it, try to instill it in children when they are young, I think is the it's a very important thing.
It
I think.
is important, sure.
Yeah. But so if we look at some of, for instance, your subjects, so obviously you have religion, and in religion you will speak about orthodoxy. But if you have other subjects, you stick to those subjects, right? You would teach, I don't know, economy or English or whatever. You would do it generally speaking, right? You wouldn't
Yeah,
perhaps have religion
of
in that.
course, of course, you speak about subjects, but um, it is important for children to know that a professor of economy and a professor of physics and a professor of mathematics is also an Orthodox person. And
Yeah.
it matches.
Yeah.
For example, for a teenager, it's very important to know that it matches.
Yeah. And I think it gives the kids role models. you know, because you have people, educated people, who can teach them about chemistry, for instance, but they're still believers, you know. And I think
Yes.
this is something often lacking in our
Yes.
schools.
Yes. You may be a teacher of chemistry, and you may be very, very successful person, for example, and you may do many things in this world, but to stay a believer, and it is important for a youngster to know that such kind of a people exist.
Yes, because very often when we are faced with
It is possible. Yeah.
it is possible, and it is desirable. I think
It is desirable.
the
Yeah.
church and all the church fathers and all the saints all
Yes. And
encourage.
you have your own way. You may create your own way
Yeah.
to stay Christian
Yes.
and to improve yourself, yes, and to open all your talents given by God.
I think this goes back, you know, obviously not to become too theological, but it simply goes back to the freedom we have in Christ. You know, we're completely free people, and this is the beauty of our faith. And these things are not opposed to each other, like you say. You know, you can know biology or chemistry, and you can still be a believer. And I think
Yes, you're free and you create your own life, your
yes,
own path.
yes, but always with Christ in the middle. And I think that's the appeal of such a school like yours. You know, that whatever you do, it's always Christocentric, you know, as they would say, right?
Eccentric. Right. Yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. Because I know myself from what I've read of communist times, there was this idea among the communists that if you're a believer, you cannot be a scientist, right? You cannot be a educated person somehow, you know. So I think
Yeah, you may only pray and maybe
yes,
do
yes.
something very, very low labor.
And in many ways, today is the same among many people, you know, who
Like
are
that. Mhm.
claiming the same thing. You know, if you're a believer, you have no right to express your opinion about this or that because you're stupid, because you're ignorant, right?
That's not true.
No, of course it's not. Of course it's not. But
Mhm.
that's sadly what they try to do, and what they sadly try to convince the children. I mean, I know myself many young people who come to me who want to study, and they ask me, Father, how can I mix this with my faith? And I say, what's the problem? Just study.
Mhm.
You know, there's no problem to be academic or scientific
Yeah,
and to be Orthodox. So I think that's a wonderful aspect of
that's
this.
why religious schools should exist.
Yes, this is a broader question, you know, about religious schools, and I completely agree with you.
Mhm.
Sadly, I think there's a trend in many countries where they want to get rid of these schools.
Mhm.
Obviously, they will use some excuses, for instance, that some Islamic school promote terrorism. But we have to be honest, most of these schools, especially Christian schools, they don't do anything bad. I would say the opposite, you know. Um, so,
Nothing bad. Mhm.
so you know, it's I
It is
completely
not bad, but it is not belonging to state. It should be separated from the
yes,
state.
yes,
Yes, and the state should check something with concern security, for example, and all the state rules, but
yes.
to be free in a religion way.
Yeah, and I think, for instance, I'm in America right now, and it's a struggle here because obviously there are some political powers who want
Mhm.
to minimize the chance of you deciding what your children want to be, you know. And I
Mhm.
think that such schools really are in many ways a safe haven, a rescue for these children who otherwise, you know, wouldn't have this. I mean, there's one school I think in Arizona where Elder Ephraim, you know, he blessed to start one Christian school, and there's some other ones, but generally speaking, in the West, it's the opposite trend. It's almost like it's going, you know, they don't want us to have Christian schools. So
Mhm.
are there many are there many similar schools to yours in Russia, generally speaking?
I think in Moscow it's about 30 schools, maybe 30 or 40
Oh wow,
in Moscow, but they're small schools.
yeah.
Yeah, they close to some parishes for example. Yes, in Russia, I think in whole Russia there are some. Yes,
Okay, 30 in one city. That's
in
and how
one
many?
city.
Go on,
Moscow
sorry.
is a big city.
Oh yeah, yes. I don't think people realize how big it is. You have to go there, and then you realize how big it is. How many students do you have in your school?
Not many, about 200
Yeah,
in a whole amount.
yeah,
In a
yeah,
whole amount, yeah, but we work about 30 years, so we have a big amount of our graduates.
yeah, yes, yes,
And they are already graduated from all the universities, and some of them are absolutely adult people with their own families, with their own careers.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's fascinating how long this school has existed because it's really from the beginning of the new period in Russian history. You have
From the very, very beginning, because we started this year when the law of the not state education was
adopted.
enforced. Yes, well,
Yeah,
yeah, it was allowed. Yeah.
yeah. No, no, that's one. So you must have been one of the first
One
such.
of the first, yes. One
Yeah,
of the
yeah. That's really really wonderful.
it's the new history of Russia.
Yes,
Our-
yes.
Mhm.
Hopefully it will continue and somehow this trend of Christianity, coming back as it has will just continue. And I want to ask you about the nuns, the sisters in the convent. Do they participate in the life of the church in some way? Do they help out, or are they in any way connected to the church? Sorry, to the school.
Because we are very close to the convent. Of course, they are connected, but they don't give any lessons, for example, because nuns live their own monastic life. They have their own obediences, their
Mhm.
own rules of life, for example. But it's very nice for children to to watch this way of living.
Yeah,
Yeah, to see the nuns, to know that this kind of living exists,
yeah,
that a person can consecrate all her life, all his life, her life to Christ. For example, not have family, not to build a career, but just to pray for the peace of the world, to pray for the grace.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's very good. And our children participate in different charity projects that convent create.
Okay.
That's what we always participate. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you would have study, you would have prayer, and you would also make the children participate in helping out in charity.
Yes, in helping people, in helping the people, some people who, for example, who is not feeling good, or for example, who needs any help, because it's our convent is a convent of a mercy. It is called обитель милосердия, so it's a
Milosierdzie,
convent of a
mercy.
mercy,
Yeah.
mercy. Yeah, yes.
So, so,
So
so
it's also a school of mercy for
yeah,
our
and
children.
that's why you named it after Saint Elizabeth, right? Because she did these works of mercy, correct?
Yes, she did these works of mercy, and when she started it in the beginning of the last century, it was not traditional for Russia, because all Russian monasteries were just only about prayer, only about monastic lives, about hesychasm, for example, something like that, but not about mercy, not about to be open to the lay people, for example. And she started this. She started, and we try to bring out our children, to bring up our children in such way, to be merciful, to be open, to see what people in need, and to help.
Yeah, no,
This is
that's
the Christian way, and this is also a mission. A
yes,
mission.
yes, of course, yes. I think you raise a good point that this is the Christian way, and it's also a way of mission. I was reading in the Gospels yesterday that when we do something good for someone, this is Christ saying this. We will get our somehow reward, and we will do the will of the Father. So somehow by doing these acts of mercy, we are directly obeying the Lord. We're directly somehow. It's very easy. You just do good, do help these people, and directly you're closer to God. It's
Right.
I think we make it often too complicated. Sometimes it's very easy. Just help someone,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very happy to see, that this legacy of Saint Elizabeth lives on. I know your school, this convent. I also know the convent in Minsk, in
Mm-hmm.
Belarus. They're also
Of Saint Elizabeth as
yeah,
well, after
they're,
her name.
yes, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're quite famous as well. They also help thousands of people in hospitals and stuff. So I think it was very very beautiful of you to connect it with Saint Elizabeth. I think it's a perfect role model for kids.
Yes, yes, yes. We have such tradition. For example, this period, our times, because of the COVID, our abbess, the Matushka of the monastery, she spends a lot of her time, her free time, in hospitals, for people who are dying already, dying of COVID, and she's just helping them to spend their last hours
Yeah,
because they're absolutely lonely in this, red zone,
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
very, very hardly sick of COVID.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, and she spends just like a volunteer, uh, 4 days in a week
yeah,
just to help these people to die as a normal person, to die in peace, just she's just holding her hand, for example,
yeah,
giving some water and listening to some last words. It's
yeah.
very important.
Yes, it is very important, and it's really, I always come back to the fact that we as Christians, we have to do everything to remain human. And what human
Yes,
means created in the image of God, and always to just remain human, because this world wants to make us inhuman. They want to make us like
yes,
beasts or animals or whatever. And
yes. This is what makes you a human.
yes, compassion and love. So I think it's really really wonderful. And you mentioned COVID, and I don't like COVID, but just it made me think
What would you
about.
like?
do you do you offer also distance studies, or it's
It
only?
is our challenge.
Yes. So does your school only have studies locally, or do you also have it like through the internet? How do you have that? Your
Pardon?
school, do you offer education through the internet or only there?
No, no, not now, no, offline.
Offline.
Offline. But first time 2 years ago, it was online for some short period of time. But now it's absolutely offline. We hope it will be offline this year.
Forever.
That was September as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, that was terrible. Yeah, because when I was there, it was already after COVID, I think, after the big wave, so it was already
Mhm.
good, good. And have you been thinking about establishing something in English for foreign students, maybe to study, or that's
We
difficult?
have we have from time to time some foreign because Moscow, until the end of this time, it was a very open city, big with a lot of foreigners.
Mm,
And this very year, the 2022, when most of the foreign schools in Moscow closed because foreigners passed away, these children from the foreign schools came to our school.
and
And we have some English speaking kids, French speaking kids, German speaking kids, native languages as well.
but do you teach them in English, or they have to speak Russian?
They try to speak Russian, but of course we provide them some extra Russian lessons to help them to
That's
speak
good.
Russian better, right?
That's really really really.
We understand it's not their native language.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I was thinking we should send Father Artemi. He should come here and establish such a school, like a sister school to your school. That could
Yeah, I think
perhaps.
he would willingly come. He visited America maybe few times. He likes the USA.
Yeah, he
I,
speaks good English. I've heard him speak English, and
yes, yes.
sadly, I think we will have to wait a few years before trying to open an Orthodox school here. But maybe God willing, it
Maybe
will.
next time.
Yes, God willing, it will happen.
Yes, God gives.
I'm very happy that you took the time, to speak to me. I think this topic is interesting to people because many people, Orthodox people in the West, they look towards the East, towards Russia for some sort of, how should we revive the faith, because that's what happened in Russia, right? The last 30 years. And I think that
Mhm.
one of the most important ways of reviving the faith or the spiritual life is to establish Christian education. I think that this is
Yes, it starts from the school. It starts from the very beginning.
Yes, yes. And I think that,
Because faith, church, there is a Russian saying, "Церковь не в бревнах, а в ребрах." It means church is not within walls, but
yeah.
within human beings.
Yes, yes. It's something deeper. It's something. I think
Yeah.
the English word would be ethos. It's more
Yeah.
like
Church is inside us, not
yes,
outside.
yes, yes.
Inside.
It's something we have to live, you know.
Yeah.
And I think often the case in among many people is they will go to church on Sunday, but then 6 days of the week they are not Christians. You know, they're like living their life like it's their faith doesn't exist. So I think by putting kids in a Christian minded school, Orthodox minded school, is a good way to teach them that, you know, you're a Christian always.
Be Christian every day.
It's difficult. I mean, we're all humans. It's obviously difficult, but I think that that's a good help. And then if they go home and have good parents who teach them the same, then there is hope. You know, there's really hope that these kids will grow up with some Christian understanding of the world. You know, not just that I go to church on Sunday and then it's Monday
And
comes.
then I'm free.
Exactly. You know, it's really about establishing, making faith in the base of everything, which I think was the case in old Russia. You know, before the revolution, it was much more like this. You know, it was much more. It wasn't perfect. You know, I think we have to be honest, but it was much more that faith was at the base of everything.
Yes, yes. But unfortunately, revolution came, and it meant that not all was so perfect.
Yes, not yes, many things came out, but I think it was in a ways it was something that made what happened now possible. You know, that people really rediscovered their faith because they wanted to, because they needed to. I
Yeah.
think in older times you had no choice. You were born, and it was now you're Orthodox. You know, but now people see that this world is really problematic, to say the least. We have to turn to God, right? So
Now you have choice.
yes, you have choice.
You're more free. You have freedom.
Freedom, yes, and that's really what being Christian is. Not some pseudo political freedom, but real freedom inside. You know, real
Yeah.
freedom to express yourself. If you want to be an artist, you can, like you're a painter, but you're still Orthodox. It's not a, you know, it's not contrary. Instead, it can be together. You know, so that's we need more of that. So let's pray for that, and let's hope that more such schools can be established. Really.
Let's pray for that.
Okay, thank you so much, Ina.
Thank you, Father Philip. It was
God
a
bless.
big pleasure to conversate, to
with me
communicate.
as, with me as well. God bless you and your school, and I will pray for you all that, you know, your efforts will continue as they have now, and that you will reap rewards in the future like you are now. So God bless you all.
Thank